you say there are benefits to vulnerability and curiosity, which I agree. A lot of
Hmm.
people may say, well, no, 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 no. So
Hmm.
make a case for why those are important.
Yeah. Yeah. It all goes back to the self-knowledge piece.
Okay.
And so I would say vulnerability and curiosity. I think when people hear them, especially vulnerability, they think with somebody else. Like, I need to make myself vulnerable to somebody else, like in a
Okay.
relationship, in a team, whatever. But I would say vulnerability starts between you and you.
Mm.
And that's almost the most vulnerable you will ever be, is when you can acknowledge to yourself who you actually are and
Yeah.
how you're actually operating. Um, so yeah, vulnerability to me is just honesty. And it has to start with you being honest with yourself about who you are, how you're making decisions, how you're motivated. And it's important because if you can't be aware of where you're starting from, you can't make progress from there. Like, you're kind of just operating with make believe
Mm-hmm.
if you're not able to
Mm.
share first with yourself and then maybe with other people over time. Like, hey, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is my experience. And it is, when you're vulnerable, you allow other people to be vulnerable, even if you're just sharing your own story. That's why, testimony in a church or in like an AA
Mm-hmm.
meeting or in so
Yeah.
many personal development spaces, like, testimony is a big part. It's not someone telling anyone else what they need to do. It's just them sharing their own
Mm-hmm.
experience. And that is, if you're ready and you feel like you've gotten to this state of like, I'm at least as honest as I can be with myself about myself. Now I can share that story with somebody else. You don't have to facilitate their growth, but you sharing your vulnerability gives them the moment to be like, oh, maybe I need to get honest with myself about myself.
Yeah.
So that's, it's all part of the evolution. If you don't know where you're starting from, you can't go anywhere, period.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down
Well,
to.
and just from my own experience, in terms of the sharing your story, there are just so many people in my life that have guided or mentored me that they shared first. They gave me
Hmm.
permission to share second, and that
Yeah.
was very empowering at times when I couldn't have shared first. I needed someone
Hmm.
else to kind of open the door of vulnerability, so then I could express and share my own
Yeah.
insecurities as a way to know, like, this is a safe place to share,
Hmm.
because sharing in the wrong place in that time could just shut me down further, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's also what coaching is about.
Mm,
I do my absolute best to create safety for the people that I work with, and I even tell people in the intake, what I'm looking for is someone who can be honest with themselves. Because if you can't be honest with yourself first, you can't be honest with me. If you can't be honest with me, we don't even know what we're working with.
yeah.
Um, but it's rare. We do live in a bit of a violent society and a scared
Yeah.
society. And when you're scared, if you see a threat, if you see something that doesn't align with your experience, the knee-jerk reaction is to shut it down or
Yeah.
diminish it or discard it or criticize it. And that's so damaging, to your point of like, if you're vulnerable with someone who's not ready to hear that, that is incredibly traumatizing. And I don't think that we can overlook how much trauma people
Yeah.
experience, period, and then how rare it is to actually be in a dynamic where you can be vulnerable and you can admit your flaws. Like, you can talk about the
Yeah.
things that you're most worried about being judged
Yeah.
on. Like, that's incredibly healing. If you
Yeah.
have a space where you can
Hmm.
say, hey, I did this thing that I'm not proud of, and you're met with someone who says, that's okay,
Hmm.
and you
We
have
love
been
you anyway,
carrying
we
all this
accept you.
shame
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, we love you no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
It's okay, me too. Like,
Yeah.
that experience, I wish everyone on planet Earth could have that experience of sharing
Yeah.
what it is that they feel worst about themselves,
Yeah.
and it was met with love. Like, that would heal the world. Not to get hippie,
Yeah.
but like, that
Oh
would
yeah.
truly heal the world. And I just also want to acknowledge, for anyone listening who's tried that and not gotten that response, it doesn't mean you can't get that response from a different source. And just
Mm,
finding the spaces where you can get that response is almost our job, to put ourselves into environments
yeah.
where we're going to be met with love and understanding and support and encouragement. It's
Yeah.
not easy to find, but it exists, and everyone deserves to have that experience. And that's what we all want. Like no one's
Yeah.
unique in like needing that space. We all need
Yeah.
that space, right? We're all human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I got the opportunity to interview a man named Daryl Davis, and he's a black man who reaches out to people in the KKK. He goes to their
Wow.
rallies, and he
Wow.
does exactly what you are describing with them, with sort of these people that essentially everyone's discarded. And
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got like several hundred KKK robes that members have given him as they've left
Wow.
the group, and it's just very inspiring. And I'm thinking, man, if he can do that, I can do at least something in that direction, you know.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Be that for those people that seem. I mean, not that it's not that he's accommodating or saying what they're saying is right, but and he brings in truth, but he also has that grace side of it,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty inspiring.
It is.
So is
Yeah.
that an
And
is
I
yeah? Go
would
ahead.
I would just also like that's an incredible example that's so inspiring, and it makes me pause and think what could I do that would be that
Mm-hmm.
transformational. And the people that we interact with every single day, like again, our spouses, our
Yep.
kids, the PTA president, like the person who's parking behind you, the
Yeah.
barista, like they all have
Something.
stuff
Yeah.
that they're carrying around. And I think we're all very, very quick to judge, and especially if we're kind of dysregulated and stressed ourselves. So if anyone's
Yeah.
listening and hears that, it's like, whoa, I can't do that. The thing is, you can do that. You can do that level of holding space for anyone in your life
Yeah.
today. And that can heal. And it can also feel so good. Like
Yeah.
you have to tap into that
Mm-hmm.
peace and understanding in order to give it to
Yeah.
somebody else. So it can happen in any context.